All right, everybody, how's it going? The Real Diversity. We are back with another video. I'm super late on this. I'm on a trip right now currently, and up until this data set was released, which I think was a day or two ago, might have been 2 days ago. I kept trying to I kept trying to what day is this set dropping? Because they always release the cards, or at least if you didn't notice, on Pocket Zone, they will always release the full set. I don't know if data miners or what, or somebody gets early access. I don't know, but they always get access to the full set the day before it's released. So I like to make the videos before we have the set in our actual game app. So I was like, okay, but I didn't know the exact date. So that's actually my bad. I should just make sure I research it, but I've been so busy anyway. I don't think I ever would have got to this anyway. But I do have a second of free time, and I am on vacation right now. So I will drop this video because I was excited to see some of the cards here, and I wanted to just share my opinion. I just before even we got the full set, I wanted to share my opinion because I think a lot of people are down talking these new megas. And one thing I want to say is I was playing Mega Blastoise at the end of the ranked when ranked ended before I even knew they was gonna do this, because I got a full art version of the blue card, and I wanted to make a blue deck that was based around Blastoise. And so I was already working with Blastoise, and when these cards dropped, I said, or the set, the not the trailer dropped, and I was like, okay, these cards are very decent. People don't, I don't think, really see the value yet, but I will go into it. But we did know one thing. We knew Charmeleon was pretty decent because Charmeleon had a good effect. But I had a feeling that every mid stage was going to be decent, and that adds so much layers to these decks. So let's get into it, and I'll go quick. I won't go over every card. I didn't look at every card yet, but if I see something, I know the cards I know I want to talk about, I will. But if I see something else, I may jump on a side tangent. But let's start here with just Venusaur. I mean Ivysaur. So let's start with Ivysaur. Ivysaur, his attack is Synthesis. Use one grass energy. You can take two grass energies from your energy zone, attach it to this Pokemon. So a ramp that we've never seen before. The closest thing to this is like Dialga, and Dialga's like does not, like, you need two to attack. So this is really good. Only issue with this is that you're in the active spot and only at 100 HP. So here's what would have to happen is you go first because you gotta most likely go, or you can go second. But I think your opponent being able to evolve on there, and that could be bad. But this works very well if you go first, and then you attack. You're at 3 energy. Your third turn, you're swinging for 120 with all the effects. So very, very strong effect here. One thing I don't think people also talked about with Venusaur, out of all the Mega Kanto starter Pokemon, he is the only one that has two colorless requirements. So you can pair this up very nicely and very easily with anything like Magby or like any of the ramp babies. You can pair it up long as you get two full turns. Long as you start long as you go second, you will be able to attack in 2 turns anyway with this Venusaur. So yeah, or actually, no, three. It's gonna be 3 turns no matter what. So even if you were to go, um, even if you went first, you wouldn't be able to attack to your third turn. Even if you went second, you won't be able to attack until your third turn either way. So I guess it did matter with Venusaur. But with Ivysaur, he allows you to attack your third turn. Oh wait, you can attack on your, sorry, yeah, third turn if you go first. So really, Venusaur allows you to play this card without the need of ramp, but you're not totally screwed if you do just throw ramp with this deck. It still works just as fine. So no issues with Venusaur. I think getting set up, it's gonna be 3 to get set up, but you gotta think about this card. You can have Erica in the deck. You can have, I've had no luck at pulling any of the megas yet. Oh, I think I did get Mega Venusaur. I'm tripping. Mega Venusaur is actually the only Mega I've gotten so far. But Mega Venusaur, pair this with, you can pair this by itself, or you can, like obviously, you can throw in some babies, and it will still be online same time. Throw a leaf cape on this thing, play it with, well, really, you can play with Lily. You don't need to even play with Erica, which is kind of a disadvantage since it's grass. You could, if it was, if they were all stage ones, you could this card will have an advantage, but it does have the leaf cape advantage. So you get an extra 10, plus you can run Lily with this thing. But I guess if you wanted to run Erica and that way never have to worry about having to be fully evolved, that's also strong too. But yeah, Venusaur I think is a really, really good card. Again, it's only doing 120, but you're guaranteed, it's like technically you're doing 130, and you guys don't realize, but sleep is so strong. If your opponent is asleep, they just lose. And here's the thing: is you can go into someone's mega, and they're done for. And you know what's so funny is a mega. This is one of the only cards where a mega can come into you first. They can go. Let me just pause. A mega can attack you first, and you can attack back, and you can still win that matchup even if you didn't attack first because they stayed asleep. So they pretty much will have to concede because you get to attack into them twice for free. So most turns, if it's gonna fall on a coin flip, whether you pretty much hit their active Pokemon for 200. No, I forgot. I was gonna say 240 base damage, but plus the poison, that's like an extra 30, I think. So like, oh my god. So yeah, nothing surviving that. Nothing surviving two of these attacks. So Venusaur is very strong. It's just gonna most likely come down to that coin flip, or just if you come in second, it won't. That coin flip won't even matter. So very, very strong card. Nothing bad to say about this, at all. I think people felt like some of these cards are underwhelming. I'm like, yeah, you think that if this thing gets set up in your face, you're like, what? You're done. The only thing that's competing with that is Charizard, because Charizard can one shot it. Let me read this. Trap territory. Your opponent's Pokemon. Retreat cost is one more. Okay, not bad. Actually, oh, he only does one. He only does 30 for one energy. That's not that great, but yeah, because there are. I think I just sworn there was another card that was swinging for 30 for one energy, a basic or something. But Charmeleon just as strong. So once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may take a flame energy from your and attach it to your your active fire Pokemon. So this isn't terrible, and people was actually I think they was hyping this card up, and I would say after looking at all the mid stages, this is actually the worst one. But the beauty of this is you can set it. It allows you to ramp up, say, like intake quicker, so you can get intake going for nothing essentially, or heat more or something. You can get something going for nothing essentially, and so that's really good. And then if you pair that with a flame patch, so you're active. So really, and that's what makes this really. The only thing that makes this really strong is now intake can actually be set up earlier, if you will, in and you can start attacking sooner. But again, I think that you would just want to pair this with a ramp card. So I would assume this just works really nicely with Moltres, especially if you go first. It works nicely with Moltres on the back end. So that's about it. But yeah, looking at it, it doesn't seem that great. But if you pair it with a flame patch, you can get that energy later. But I don't know if it's worth it or not. But yeah, so Mega Charizard, super strong, 250. That's one-shotting anything in the game. Even Venusaur with a Leaf Cape because of the weakness. Except, yeah, even Blastoise with a Giant Cape. So everyone's getting one-shotted by Charmander. Oh, also, with the Ivysaur too, there is a card that allows you to go straight into Ivysaur. So even if you leave Bulbasaur, you can go straight into Ivysaur. Wait. No, you can't do it the turn that Pokemon was set. So, but it's gonna be very consistent to get into Ivysaur. So Venusaur may see a lot of play, guys. So I think it's nice. Houndoom 50 for one, nothing crazy. War Turtle, I want to talk about him for a second. So as long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage on this Pokemon attacks. So this is one of the first times, and I think the moment and maybe next set they will, but I thought that they're like when they introduce something, I think there needs to be some sort of balancing act. One of the biggest things is the amount of bench sniping that's being done right now is kind of heavy, and I don't know, like it's what makes Decidueye so broken, because Decidueye can start sniping you early. if you play a Mega into Decidueye, you are asking to lose that match because Decidueye can set up so quickly. So just something to note that it is no fun to run into this. Run into that. So Wartortle has the ability to freely sit on the bench with no issues. The only issue is Wartortle does not pair well with Mana Key. So if I'm running a ramp deck, I have to play Mana Key. That is not fun, especially because you would always want to play Mana Key on your first turn. But especially if you're going first, you can't play Mana Key if you're going second. So that is going to be very tricky to do. So I don't know. There's always someone smarter than me when it comes to these things, but I think it's going to be pretty hard to ramp since you can't use Mana Key. Now, if Squirtle was the Pokemon that had that ability, perfect. Okay, so with that being said, people would say Blastoise is underwhelming as well, but I think the thing with Blastoise is you guys don't realize 3 energy that's the easiest requirement out of all these. Just to get to 3, and you're doing 130. That's more than Venusaur's base damage. You need 3 more energy though to swing for a maximum of how much? Oh, you're sniping. You're doing 50 on the bench at that point. So his damage doesn't go up, which is fine. You just start doing some damage to their bench. That's almost not gonna happen, but if it does happen, guess what? It's gonna happen late game when that probably matters the most. When that matters now, once you've already worn down just about everything or whatever, you hit their bench for 50, nothing surviving. So very strong. I think that's a very strong card. I think Mega Blastoise looks really great. I want to try him out first, honestly, because this guys, mind you too. The original Blastoise was 100 for 3 energy, but he did 160 with 5 energy. You're swinging for 130. Like that's 2-shotting anything. Pair that with a red. Pair that with Giovanni Red. No one's like Suicune's not safe unless it has a cape. So very strong deck. 230 again. Lily. I mean, what more can you ask for really? Okay, the other starter show. Oh, also Magnemite. Something to note too. This was the card I was thinking about. Electro Ball for 30 for 1 energy. That is actually pretty strong. I don't remember what the original Magnemite was. They always do. Like sometimes the stronger, like the base attack, the less HP they have, which I want to say is why he's at 50. But that really kind of almost plays to an advantage. I think you could pair this with a Licia. You could pair this up with like Pichu or something like that. Very, very, very strong Magnemite edition, I think. I don't know what the obsession with Magnemite is, but yeah. So, and then there's also a trainer card now that allows you to find Magneton for free. So you can pretty much, Magnezone just got the biggest buff, and Magnezone was in no sort of usage right now. Your Magnezone's been getting a lot of play. So for it to now get a buff is insane. It has a supporter card just to help it ramp. Okay, so anyways, Magnezone real quick. Mirror Shot during your opponent's next turn. If all the defending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips a coin. If tails, attack does not happen. Okay. For 90. I don't know, that's not bad. Magnezone's, and you don't lose energy there either. Magnezone's other card does 110. You lose energy. That just might be worth considering playing because 90, 110, 90. I mean, you're 2-shotting. Well, yeah, it's gonna be 3 to kill 2 to kill Suicune anyway, unless you're running like Giovanni or Red. So I don't know. Also, Helikiss also has is part of that ramp card. So let me look at him real quick. Thunderbolt's card, 120 is not bad. 120 is not bad, guys. Because remember, Pikachu needed like 3 and discarded all of his energy for like 150 though. So interesting. And the Magneton here is just not better than the one at ramps itself. Miss Grievous. This is Miss Magius. So it does store power. Move all energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So is that relevant? No, not that great. But if you realize this card has a support card, then that makes this really, really different. The support card allows you to throw one energy onto Miss Maggie's. So you only need one energy to do this attack. And then that energy goes to something on the bench. So let's say like a Mewtwo. Let's say like a Garatina. I think that would be a very strong pairing with Garatina because most turns, while you're waiting to set up Magius, you're just powering up Garatina. Or like I said, or just anything else that hits really hard for Psychic that I can't think of right now. But I do think Mewtwo just comes to mind first. So yeah, I think very going to be a very strong card, honestly. Or someone's going to find a way to make that work. Reuniclus. I'm going to reach it real quick. This Pokemon gets 30 plus HP with each side. What? Wait, what? Guys, wait, am I reading that right? So just when you're attacking, you're sitting at 100 and like what? 50 HP? Which is normal. But you throwing another energy on it? Oh my god. Oh, and yeah, it's like, and he has colorless, so you could almost throw it in any deck, but no. You need Psych. Interesting. That actually might pair nice with Miss Maggie's, honestly. Reuniclus. I know that's a card I'm gonna see more of later. Okay, everything else is okay. I just want to get to Mega Lupini. Everyone thought for whatever reason we weren't gonna get Mega. They're on a Mega trend right now. There's no normal EXs right now. So everyone's like, oh, everything else is probably gonna be an EX in this deck. No, everything else is a Mega in this set. So Mega Lupini. I just lost to this deck yesterday. Flip 2 coins. This attack does 90 damage for each hit. And your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. So even if you just get hit one and with will, again, your opponent's still confused. I forget what confusion does on this game. But again, there's an effect. Plus you're doing 90. Is this card that great? It is very strong if they get 2 hits. It's very similar to we had a card just like this. Which card? Okay, I have to go look it up because I could not remember for the life of me what the Pokemon was called. Because it's so season 1 of this game that was like that was so long ago. Marowak EX, very very similar to Marowak EX, almost a clone of Marowak EX. Only difference is your opponent's confused and it does 10 more damage. If you do get a heads, because Marowak EX was only 80. And Marowak EX was I think only like 30, 40 HP. So this one can tank 2 hits. You know. I don't see, it's a core, like the more I think on it, like if you're playing into another Mega, you're going to need to hit, to get a knockout, you're going to need to hit in 2 turns, you're going to need at least 1 hit, and you're going to need at least in another turn to flip 2 hits. Because 180 is not going to be enough to take out like Mega Charizard. 180 is not going to be enough to take out I'm trying to think of Mega Ulterior, right? So you're gonna need, and then plus you gotta pair this with Wheel for effectiveness. So you're really only swinging for like 90 most turns unless you get lucky and get the extra hits. So yeah, again, not a fan of coin flipping. If that's your strat, it's gonna let you down more often than not. Not gonna be a high roll deck, but very strong if you are getting your flips. So again, only 2 energy, very easy to set up. And yeah, especially if you go second or something like that. Was there anything else interesting? I'm sorry, I don't think I've seen all the cards. So if there is something else that's interesting and I missed it, I'm sorry. Let me look at Ditto real quick. Choose one of your bench Pokemon. Except any Pokemon EX and use this. What does it mean, a necessary energy? I'm not sure what that means, but interesting. I say, but you could maybe ramp this thing up and make it do any attack. Only thing, no, you can't do EX. I was gonna say you could copy it. They made sure. I was like, you could just use this as just copy like Charizard and then EX or something. but Mega Charizard, but you can't use it into. And when it says energy requirement, does it just mean a number? Because sometimes you have a card that you have to discard all your energy, right? So like the Helicus deck, or like, or even like Magnezone, the old Magnezone. When you discard it, or even pick no, that's EX. So when you discard energy, can you use that in attack if you're using different energy, and so you don't discard the energy, like how Mega Blaziken has to discard energy? Can you avoid that? I wonder. I'm curious on that. That would be different. Or like, well, again, all the main ones that discard energy seem to be EXs, but I don't know. There's always somebody to figure something out, so I think that may be valuable, for sure. I'm looking at Mega Steelix real quick. Atomanium Rolling. I'm sorry, did I say that right? Okay, I think during your opponent's system. This Pokemon takes 20 of this. So this is one of the first steel types that actually has a crazy high HP. Sometimes Skarmory, and I think sometimes it's trying to do a Bastiodon deck a while ago. And then recently I seen people been trying to make Metal work. So there are a lot of cards that people have made work, and I've lost to a few of those decks just because if they get set up, it's very hard to knock them out if you're not doing a ton of damage. Now I think the meta's doing so much damage that this is just gonna be not that great. One of the things for this card to be great, they would have to do so much damage reduction that pretty much anything that's not running a mega should just lose to it. That's the only way to make this deck viable. Anything that's not running some high hitting meta, it should just lose because they're not even scratching the paint on Mega Steelix. Is how good I think is how good a deck like this would have to be because you're only doing 120, no extra effects. Well, you do get also no weakness. So even when you attack, so even if you attack into Blaziken, he doesn't do extra damage there, so that's nice. And then minus 20, so yeah. So you could pretty much live 2 hits for Mega Blaziken. Plus, that's not even including obviously the metal, or I think it's called metal plate, or whatever the item is that allows you to have like reduced, I want to say is either 10 minus 10 or minus 20 damage on metal steel types. So very, like, it can be very tanky for sure. And I think there was another card that's specific for steel types that's minus 20 as well. The guy from Legends Arceus. So Porygon Z also, because Porygon 2 allows you to evolve, I think, straight away. So let me look at what this Porygon Z does. This attack does 20 more damage for each trainer card in your opponent's deck. So in an 18 trainer deck, this would do like a crazy amount. But even if your opponent's running just like, so you automatically do 20. If they only have like 4 trainers left in their deck, you're only doing 100 damage. That is nothing. So I don't think, yeah, late game that's just a bad card. Early game, sure, you can maybe, cause like that's definitely a high roll, like an early game high roll, because then you can swing really early for like 100 and maybe like 40 or something really quickly. But yeah, that's super high roll though. Okay, Staraptor. Cheers. Okay, not that great. But Staraptor can swing up to 200. Okay, I don't think nothing else that great. As a Buffalon also, well, Buffalon can fit into pretty much any deck. He allows you to revenge KO for, he comes in and does 80 if your previous Pokemon was just knocked out. Not that great of a card. Just thought I would mention it because in some decks, like, and his retreat is too, yeah, I don't know, because it's too, if he accidentally starts first, yeah, never mind. Don't play that card. I really don't see where you would use that, especially if he gets set up. If he gets any active on accident, turn 1, you're screwed. So, Clement's backpack. Yeah. So this is the card I was talking about. This allows you to. Oh wait. Not that one. Clement, the trainer card himself is the one. So put 2 random cards from your from a Magneton. Wait, and let me make sure Magneton's the mist. Yep. Okay. Magneton is the mid stage. What I thought. So yep. This is only thing this is gonna do is pretty much ramp the old Magneton. Old Magneton's been so broken since day one that it still gets played as crazy. But yeah, this is just gonna make old Magneton more consistent. So that every turn you can pretty much do that, and then you can also, I guess, essentially, if you want to use his backpack item as well. Just take. And then Helokiss already does 120, an extra 20 on top of that, 140. That's killing any. Ooh, that's viable now because that's knocking out any Suicune. What drawback? You can. That's. I think Magnezone has a new partner. Well, no, because that adds confusion to it. But with Clement though, I don't know. You could definitely make a Magnezone deck with that might be too much because you want to be consistent with your Clement, and you want to definitely be able to draw only like Magneton, or at worst you're a backpack and Magneton. But if you draw the wrong thing, it's gonna suck, I'd imagine. Unless you're only running one of each. No, but that wouldn't work that well. Interesting. I guess you wouldn't want to run them together because I think that adds too much clutter. It takes away from the ability to, and because it's random. And that's the thing with Pocket. I don't think they'll ever give us a set card that lets you pick out a specific card in your deck. It's always random when it comes to drawing from your deck. Like communication. Could you imagine if communication was you were switch out one of your Pokemon in your hand with a Pokemon you're choosing? Communication would have been still a meta card today if that was how it was read. But it's always random with this stuff. So yeah. And I think that's what keeps Pocket from just being, you know, the normal TCG where you have to play a certain deck. And then Serena here, very, very strong card as well. I think this is a super strong card you could play with like a Venusaur deck because you can use Quick Growth, Extract, and then almost always get into your Serena. Like you have so much consistency, I think, in the grass deck. But also in any EX deck now, especially like Mega Lupini we just seen, or any of the stage 1 megas, or it just acts as a lot better of a retriever when you're like, say, in like a Mega Absolute deck, right? Mega Pinsir deck, like it acts so much better to just be able to pull something. Serena definitely has its value. I just don't 100% see what situations, but it definitely is a really, really strong card. That's all I wanted to say, guys. This video was way longer than I wanted it to be, actually. But I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, thumbs up, like, comment, and please don't forget to subscribe if this is not your first time here. Anyways, man, peace out.